Hello students, we are going to discuss about the next topic, which is speed of transverse wave on a stretched string. Yesterday we have seen the speed of a traveling wave. It's a general wave. Now this is a specific wave. You can see one example here. There is a string which is connected to a, let us say, a wall, and the string is pulled and released. So you will see the waves like this. You're going to see the waves like this. This is a transverse wave. So we are trying to find out what is the speed of the wave. So here the proofs are beyond the scope of your syllabus. The speed is given by v is equal to root over t by mu. T is equal to, T is what? T is tension in the string. It is given in newtons, and mu is called linear mass density. Okay, linear mass density, it is given in kg per meter. So dimensionally, if you verify, T is Newton, so it is kg meter per second square divided by kg per meter. So kg and kg is cancelled. You get this meter goes up in the numerator. It is root over meter square per second square. You are getting meter per second. So dimensionally this formula is okay. So let us understand this with an example. In this example, a steel wire 0.72 meter long has a mass of 5 into 10 power minus 3 kg. If the wire is under a tension of 60 Newton, what is the speed of the transverse wave? So speed is given by v is equal to root over t by mu. So t is given as 60 Newtons. So we have to find out mu. So mu can be calculated as total mass of the string divided by total length of the string. Total mass of the string divided by total length of the string. That is how you get kg per meter. So total mass of the string is given as 5 into 10 power minus 3 kg, and length is given as 0.72. So it is put over here, right? You got the mu value, you know the tension value, you can get the value of velocity. So 60 divided by 5 into 10 power minus 3 divided by 0.72. 0.72 will go to the numerator, and once you solve this, this is 5 12s are 12,000 into 0.72. Okay, 12,000 into 0.72 it is. So just calculate, and how much you're going to get means you're going to get, let me just calculate, 92.95 you are getting. I'm using a, as per your this thing, you have requested me to use a mouse, so I'm getting 92.35. Just verify this. Writing with a mouse is little difficult, but I'm trying. Okay, 92.95 meter per second is what I'm getting. Just verify that. Let's next move to the speed of longitudinal wave. Sound wave is a longitudinal wave. I told you an example where a piston is put on top of a vessel. You apply the pressure on the piston, and there is air inside the container. What will happen? The air will undergo compression and rarefaction. This is a example of longitudinal wave, because this piston is creating a disturbance. Okay, and that disturbance is transferred to the particles of air. So some regions will be compressed, some regions will be having rarefaction. Rarefaction means they get far apart. Compression means they get very closer. So sound waves are a type of a longitudinal wave. So here also we want to calculate the speed. Here speed v is equal to root over b by rho. B is called bulk density and rho is called mass density. It will be given in the question. You have to calculate. See, this bulk density you have studied in elasticity chapter. Whenever we are calculating for a volumetric medium, we use this formula. such as for gases and liquids, they undergo volumetric strain. They undergo volumetric strain. But when we talk about solids, let us say we take a solid bar. What happens is it has got three dimensions: length, width, and thickness. When you apply some stress on the length of the bar, it will undergo strain in all three directions, but the strain in the length will be considerably high. Strain in the length will be high. It will be high when compared with width and the thickness. So predominantly the strain will happen only in one direction. In other direction the strain can be neglected. So in this situation we have to use, in the place of B, we have to use Y. Y is the Young's modulus. Y is called the Young's modulus of the material. It is given in Newton per mm square. You can see here I have shown the speed of sound in three different medium. You can see in the solid it is the maximum. Gases and liquid it is little less. So for gases and liquids you have to use this. You have to use this formula. In the case of solids you have to use this formula. Just make a note of that. So next we are going to discuss about reflection of waves. So you can see the diagrams here. They pretty well explain themselves. This is a pulse. Okay, this is a pulse which is going and hitting a rigid boundary. Rigid means fixed. Example is an ocean wave. Let us say it is hitting a bank, a shore. You cannot shift the shore, right? The shore position is fixed. So here you see the pulse is traveling, and after hitting, what is happening? The pulse is reversed. So why it is reversed? Why the pulse is going back now? The answer is in Newton's third law, action reaction. Okay, so mathematically how we are going to understand this? Mathematically we are going to say there is a phase reversal. From 0 it became pi. From 0 it became pi. Why? Because before hitting, you see this is the maximum displacement. Let us say +1. Now it became -1. Now it became -1. Right? So there is a phase reversal. So this is what happens in the case of reflection of waves. So like we have studied about principle of superposition. So in principle of superposition what we do, we basically add up the displacements of both the waves. So there is a situation here that this wave is traveling from left to right. This pulse is traveling from left to right, and then after hitting the boundary it is traveling from right to left. So let us see what is happening at the boundary. If you apply this condition, this principle at boundary, what is happening? You have a wave which hit from left to right and there is a reversal. So you have to add the displacement due to the front wave and then the back wave. So here you are going to get y is equal to 0 because there is a phase reversal. So what is, see, originally the wave equation was this. Okay, now after it went under reflection, what will happen? You have to add a phi. You have to add a phase now. There is a phase change now. This equation can be understood as kx minus omega t plus 0. Initially there was no phase. Now after hitting there is a phase change. So it is plus pi. So it is sine of theta plus pi. You can understand like that. So sine of theta plus pi means 180. So 180 plus pi. It is in which quadrant? It is in the third quadrant. In third quadrant sine is negative. So it is minus a sine kx omega t. So this is a plus value and this is the minus. When you add plus and minus, you are going to get y is equal to 0. Okay, so we have applied the principle of superposition here. At which location? At the location of the boundary. Similarly, you can apply at any point. You can apply at any point. So when you are applying here, you have to apply the same location you have to take. You cannot take this location in the back wave. You cannot take this location in the back wave and this location in the front wave. You have to take correspondingly same particle. You have to take. I told you. You have to take the same particle. All right. So now here rigid boundary, the displacement is equal to 0. What happens in the case of a open boundary? In open boundary, there is no phase reversal. What do I mean by open boundary? So this is the pulse which is hitting in this direction to a boundary at A now. But after hitting, the boundary got shifted from A to B. That means the A is not fixed. So that type of boundary we are going to call it as an open boundary. The earlier case, it was a fixed boundary, like a wall. When you take a ball and hit the wall is not going to shift. But if you hit a cardboard, the cardboard is going to shift. In a simple layman language, I'm trying to tell. So in the case of open boundary, there is no phase reversal. Only in the case of rigid boundary, there is a phase reversal. Okay. So let us now talk about standing waves. So you see there is a pulse which is traveling between wall 1 and wall 2. Both are fixed. What will happen? This pulse will go and hit the wall 2, then it will return. It will hit the wall 1, then it will return, and so on and forth. It will keep on happening. After a few cycles, it will settle down, and then it arrives to a fixed wave pattern. That is called standing wave. Okay. So here also we will be following this principle of superposition. So here what happens is you will be observing two type of points, nodes and antinodes. Okay. Now while you add these two pulses, we are assuming that this amplitude is same. So when you add these two, basically as per the principle of superposition, we have to add both the displacements. So y1 equation is given by this and y2 equation is given by this. You are simply adding them. So you know that it is sine of a plus b plus sine of a minus b. Okay, I am calling this as a and this as b. This is a trigonometric formula. You get 2 sine a cos b. So finally you get this expression. Okay, you get 2 sine a cos b. You get 2a sine kx cos omega t. If you carefully observe, this is not in the standard format. Okay, here the amplitude is this term. 2a sine kx is the amplitude. That means what? At different x values, you are getting different displacements, different amplitudes you are getting. Okay, that means if you have taken this particular location, here the value of x will be something, here the value of x will be something, here the value of x will be something. So here you are getting some amplitude, here you are getting some amplitude, here you are getting some amplitude. Okay, but that value is fixed. That value is not changing. That value is not changing because 2a is a constant, and for a particular value of x, you are getting a particular amplitude, and that amplitude and that wave is neither moving to the left or not to the right. That means after some back and forth motion, आगे पीछे, after some forward and backward movement, it came to a position that you have a fixed amplitude at a particular position. So that is a standing wave. So when you add these two wave functions, you get two types of points. They are called as nodes and antinodes. This can be shown in this diagram. Here you see, you have a blue wave pattern is there, and then a slight light gray pattern is there. So when you're adding, you're seeing this dotted pattern is there. Dotted pattern is the addition of these two. Dotted pattern is the addition of these two. So nodes means the amplitude is 0. Antinodes means amplitude is maximum. Maximum means 1. Okay, it can be maximum value. So we have to look at and identify these node values. Okay, where exactly they are created. So the pattern is like this. So left to right movement is there, and return wave is there, right to left. All these n's means they are nodes, and there it is having minimum value 0. Okay, here one important result we will get, distance between two consecutive nodes is lambda by 2, and distance between two antinodes is also lambda by 2. This we are going to derive and see, but this result you have to remember. Okay, now when we say that we are studying about nodes, we have to say that sin kx value is equal to 0. Then only amplitude will be 0. If you see this equation, this whole thing is the amplitude. Okay, when this value will become 0, when x becomes equal to 0. Okay, so sin kx value, if it becomes 0, not x is equal to 0, sin kx value when it becomes equal to 0, the amplitude will become 0. So all those points will be called as nodes. So where it will be equal to 0, sin 180 is 0, sin 360 is 0. That means kx is equal to, it should be in the format of n pi, and n pi can be values from 0, 1, 2, 3 like that, all integer values. So but k is the angular wave number. You know that it is 2 pi by lambda. So from here we can find the value of x. It is n lambda by 2. Okay, you have to just put k is equal to 2 pi by lambda in this formula, then you get x is equal to n lambda by 2, and n value is 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Take for example n is equal to 1, x1 is equal to lambda by 2. You have to put n is equal to 1 and put n is equal to 2 in this. You get x2 is equal to 2 lambda by 2, which is lambda. x2 minus x1, distance between two consecutive nodes, it is lambda by 2, lambda minus lambda by 2. Similarly, take this portion is about antinodes. If sin kx is equal to 1, in this formula, if sin kx becomes equal to 1, you get 2a, which is the maximum amplitude. Okay, so kx, when it will be equal to 1, sin pi by 2 is 1, sin 3 pi by 2 is 1. I mean, I'm talking the modulus value. So it will be in the format of n plus half into pi by 2. Put n is equal to 0, it is pi by 2. Put n is equal to 1, it is 3 pi by 2. We are talking about modulus value. Okay, so kx will be equal to this. Put k is equal to 2 pi by lambda as earlier, you get x is equal to this much value. So here also let us see, put n is equal to 1, you get x1 is equal to, put n is equal to 1, you get 3 by 2 n plus 1 by 2, 1 plus 1 by 2, 3 by 2 into lambda by 2, it is 3 by 4 lambda. X is equal to 2, n is equal to 2, you get 5 by 2 into lambda by 2, you get 5 by 4 lambda. x2 minus x1, you are getting 2 by 4 lambda, 5 minus 3 by 4 lambda by 2. So the result what we have discussed here, this is proved now. Okay, distance between two consecutive nodes and distance between two antinodes is lambda by 2.